Here are the top 5 hottest selling markets in Orange County right now, and this list might actually surprise you. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ian Phillips. I'm a realtor in Orange County, as well as the creator and manager of this data platform called themarketvector.com. Essentially just this tracks 5 counties across Southern California and 190 cities. You can go here, click a city, it'll give you all the data you can think of, including school performance, safety ratings, economic data. Foreclosures are now live as of this month, as well as some graphs, historical data. You can get some mortgage rate information, when the Fed's going to cut interest rates, and reports. If you want to sign up for this, you can download any city report you want as many times as you'd like, or enter your email address. For example, me, I get Irvine, Orange County updates sent to this account every month. And I can add as many as I would like. So every time I update the data, you can get it sent directly to your inbox and know exactly what's happening in the housing market for any city that you're looking in. So let's get straight into it. The top 5 hottest selling markets in Orange County. Now, the reason I said this list is going to surprise you is because when most people think Orange County, they think Laguna Beach, Newport Beach, coastal cities, Dana Point. Irvine is also on the top of that list because it's such a large city and it used to be the hottest selling markets in the entire state, but things have changed over the last couple years. We can briefly take a look at Irvine. By the way, I will also upload a video shortly for the top 5 slowest markets in Orange County. But Irvine, as you can see, is a low demand market right now. Month supply is pretty high. So Irvine is not in the top 5 anymore, and it's barely not even in the top 10. So first off, we're going to start in South County. As you can see, North County is actually in a much higher demand market right now compared to South County. You're seeing more of these green dots, which is high demand versus balanced low demand in South Orange County. So let's start off with Mission Viejo. By the way, this is in no particular order. Mission Viejo is one of those cities that I talked about a couple years ago where I thought it was a pretty good buying opportunity. I noticed in 2023, 2024, people were all focused on Irvine. And from my experience as a realtor who's active in the market, I noticed people immediately say, I want to move to Irvine. They realize how expensive home values were. And then once you start looking at adjacent cities, you get significantly more home for your money. So the median home value is up slightly, 2.8% year over year. However, active listings down a little bit, days on market up. Buyer demand is also down 35% year over year. Now we are entering into the slower market, second half of the year. Typically you see buyers dropping out. So this is probably just the start of that slower market. Now, interestingly, cash purchases are 21% of this market. I did just close a home in Mission Viejo last month for cash, $2.15 million. I was representing the buyers, so they contributed to this statistic. Now, the reason this is in the top 5 is because month supply of inventory is so low, 2.2 months. Essentially what this means and why it is used to determine whether or not it's a buyer's market, seller's market, is because this takes into account available homes for sale and demand in this market. So basically, if no homes hit the market, it would be 2.2 months, or what is that, 68 days or so, before all the homes are removed from the market by the buyers. Investor buying pressure, another important metric to determine, to see what's happening in the market that you're looking in. This basically says, are there more investors buying versus selling? And 1.54x means there are 54% more buyers, more investors purchasing compared to the ones that are selling. So this market is seeing almost 17% of all homes that are sold purchased by investors. No foreclosures, no distressed inventory. That's a good sign when you're browsing. If you're a buyer looking anywhere, you want to make sure that there's not a rise in foreclosure activity, because that's a pretty big factor for the future of home values over the next 2 to 3 years. If you're seeing foreclosure inventory rising right now, there's only 2. That's basically nothing. Then you probably will anticipate prices to decline over the next year or so. So Mission Viejo is one of the top 5. Let's move into North County because we are actually seeing Anaheim in the top 5 as well. Home values up 6% year over year. The number of homes sold, number of buyers buying homes up 21% year over year, while active listings are down 13%. This is a market where buyers have been jumping in while sellers have said, you know what, I don't really want to sell my house anymore. Now, Anaheim, a lower median home value market. Cash purchases are only making up 10% of this market, so that probably means you're having more first-time home buyers maybe getting out of that condo townhome market and wanting a single-family home for a relatively similar price compared to South Orange County. That would be a lot of buyers in this city. Investor purchases. There's not many investors in this market. Only 10% of all homes sold are purchased by investors. And there's actually more investors selling compared to investors buying. Foreclosure activity, 3 foreclosures, 3 bank owned. Now this is higher than Mission Viejo, but it is a lower median household income city. Even though the unemployment rate is still low, you do see a lower median household income compared to a lot of South Orange County. So that's Anaheim. Let's go back to South County because Aliso Viejo is in the top 5 as well. Median home value down slightly 1.3% year over year. Active listings up 16% year over year, and homes sold are actually down. So even though, this is why I love this platform, because even though right now Aliso Viejo is a high demand market, because month supply of inventory is so low, this tells me that we're probably going to have Aliso Viejo shift from a high demand market to a balanced market relatively soon. If you have inventory increasing 16% year over year, pending sales down, homes sold up, or homes sold also down 15% year over year, it's not going to be a high demand market for long. There's more sellers listing their home compared to buyers that are interested in this market right now. 19% cash purchases. Investor buying pressure is higher than Anaheim. 50% more investors want to buy compared to the ones that want to sell. Obviously, no foreclosure. South County, very, very rarely do you see a lot of foreclosure activity. Household income, almost $140,000 for Aliso Viejo. But this is kind of important to pay attention to this activity right now. In fact, we can go over to graphs and kind of take a look at some historical activity and kind of see where the trend has been. So the median sales price is actually down. We can smooth this out a little bit. Is actually down since January of 2024. 980,000 is what it was in 2024, down to 896,000. So almost down $90,000 for the median home sold. Now let's go over to active listings. Active listings. This is the shift that we are seeing, which will make Aliso Viejo be shifting to a balanced market probably by the end of this year. Right now, it's still in the top 5, but you're seeing inventory since the start of the year was at 47 homes for sale to now at 86 homes on the market. So why I love this platform so much is other data platforms, you look at what's happening now. This, you can look at some historical information and kind of see where the trend is going. And the trend for Aliso Viejo is not going to be a high demand market for long, even though it's in the top 5 right now. All right, we're going back to North County, Fullerton. Fullerton, 2.5 months of supply, extremely low supply. Again, required to be in that top 5. Investor purchases, 11%, 10.5% of all homes are purchased by investors. So you're seeing less rental properties here, more first-time home buyers. Again, Fullerton is a lower median sales price market. You can get into the entry-level single-family home price range compared to other areas like Mission Viejo, like Irvine, like Costa Mesa. You can buy a single-family home here. Homes sold down 12% year over year. Active listings down 14% year over year. Days on market up 15% year over year. Almost 25% of all homes that hit the market are having a price reduction. So like I mentioned, this is what is currently in the top 5, but you can kind of start to get an idea that Cities sitting in the top 5 right now for the fastest, hottest selling markets potentially may not be here next year. It could be a completely different top 5. Irvine, we'll use this as an example. You really started to see this trend change once you started to look at months supply of inventory and active listings. Active listings started really increasing in December of 2024, and that is sort of when this trend changed from being a hot seller's market to now a buyer's market. And that obviously shows up in months supply of inventory. You can see since 2024, 1.2 months supply, hardly anything. This is when it was the hottest selling market in the country, and the trend started changing. And as a result, prices started to decline as well. You can see in June of 24, $1.7 million, all the way down to a low of $1.415 million. So the median home value dropped almost $300,000 in Irvine. And that trend started to be noticed in active listings, homes sold, buyer demand, month supply of inventory. All of this, you can start to see the trend changes in any city that you're looking in at themarketvector.com. So the last one I said was Fullerton. We're still in North County, and it's going to be Garden Grove is in the top 5. 2.2 months supply of inventory. Wow. The lowest, in fact, of all the cities that we've looked at so far. Median sales price up 8% year over year. Active listings down 23% year over year. Days on market up 31%. Number of homes sold down 7.5%. Investor purchases are currently making up 23% of this market. Interestingly, Garden Grove is seeing 125% more investors buying compared to the ones that are selling. And no surprise, foreclosures non-existent in Garden Grove. You can check out some economic data, violent crime rates across all the cities that you're interested in as well on this platform. I really wanted to create something where everything was just in one place. And I've found it really useful over the last month or so since I've been running this platform myself. 21% of all homes that hit the market are having price reductions. Now, this is an interesting one. So the median sales price is up 8% year over year, while active listings are down 23%, and homes sold are also down 23%. So even though there are less buyers in the market, inventory is depleting at a faster rate compared to the buyers that are entering the market. So that's why the median sales price is up 8% year over year. By the way, average appreciation for home values is like 3 to 4%. So being up 8% year over year is pretty impressive for an Orange County city where the median home value is already around $1 million. And the last one we're taking a look at is Brea. 2 months supply of inventory, the lowest of the top 5 cities that we have looked at today. Demand rate, 51%. That means of all the homes that hit the market, 51% are being purchased. This is the highest demand rate in the top 5 cities that we've looked at as well. That is why I saved it for last. Median sales price, hardly any change year over year, down 1.8%. Active listings up slightly, homes sold up slightly. Days on market is taking 15 days for the homes. 15 days later, after that house has hit the market, it's in escrow. That is what this means. That is extremely, extremely fast. No foreclosures. You'll notice a trend in the top 5 cities that we talked about today. Foreclosure activity is non-existent, and barring one, investor activity was outpacing investors selling. So the only city where there was actually fewer investors purchasing compared to selling was Anaheim. Now that is pretty important. This is something that would be worth monitoring over the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, see if this changes at all. But it kind of makes sense actually looking at it now. Listings for rent is up 33% year over year, while the median rental price is actually down slightly. So potentially a market where investors are kind of taking a step back. But that's kind of it for top 5 fastest selling markets in Orange County. I will be uploading weekly, if not 2 videos every week, diving into specific markets, talking about where there's opportunity. So if you're interested, subscribe for more. If you want to check out themarketvector.com, there's a ton of free information on there as well. The pro plan isn't much money, $12 a month if you want to test it out, or $99 a year. If you're someone who is actively looking, whether you're buying, selling, or a realtor in the market, I highly recommend subscribing to these reports. You can basically just get the data automatically sent to you every month when I update everything on my end. That's kind of it for the video. I'll see you next time.